Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
俺の怒りを受けろ。
Let's go.
真空可動拳。おっしゃ。
Let's go.
Now.
真空可動拳。真空可動拳。
Let's go.
最強流コーリューレッカー。
Let's go.
どうしたどうした。
Let's go.
連勝。俺の怒りを受けろ。最強流奥義一撃必殺。
Well, I got the picture.
伝説を見せてやるぜ。
Prepare to strike. Now. Fighters ready. Engage. Into the heat of battle. Go for it. Prepare to strike. Now. Fighters ready. Engage.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Prepare to strike. Now.
Hey guys, IAteMySink here. This part of the video, you probably saw some AI fights earlier, however I decided to organize the video. And I wanted to demonstrate Dan's moveset and show off the properties of some of his moves in a different format than I usually do in my videos, where I usually just show all the moves and, you know, put their inputs on the screen, whatever. But I don't think that's enough. I think I'm going to showcase to you, give you some tips and tricks as well, just show you some of the properties Dan has with his moves. So I'll start off with his normals. Inputs will still be on the screen like usual. They're just going to be like more in the corner, but you'll still be able to see them. So his normals is standing light punch, has a palm strike now, which, you know, of course, very Dan-like. He has that in his other games. Some of his buttons are just like normal Shoto normals. His heavy punch is this karate, or this Saikyo chop. Works as an overhead. You do have to be a little bit spaced though, because he does have a close heavy punch. His medium kick and his heavy kick are a little bit similar to Ken's, but they're like reversed. So the medium kick is this neutral level kick, while his heavy kick hits high. And I also will mention his target combo, medium kick and heavy kick is Dan's target combo, just like the previous version. If you're too far away, the spacing will just not permit you to land it, but you know, if you're close enough, if you you can land something like that, just throw out some quick damage, kind of like what Sean does with his target combo. He has 3 close normals, that being close medium punch, close heavy punch, and close heavy kick. A nice normal that he kind of shares the power of Sean's close heavy kick with, and decided to keep that. Dan does do a lot of knee strikes, so I figured it was fitting that he gets to keep that. His crouching normals are, you know, he has a palm strike, of course, for his standing his crouching light punch. His crouching medium punch is a very good meter building tool, just like other Shotos. He uses medium punches while you're far away to build meter fast. But yeah, all of his crouching normals are pretty typical Shoto stuff, just like any other Shoto would have. Going to his aerials, there's not too much to say about these either. Pretty typical Shoto stuff. He's got the standard assortment of stuff. Although he does have a unique jumping neutral heavy punch. It's another Saikyo chop. So it's like just the air version of the standing heavy punch. So that's pretty cool. Also, Dan's overhead attack has been reverted because, you know, I felt that, like, you know, even Shotos all the way from Sean up to Akuma, their overhead, their standard medium punch, medium kick overhead move is just like a jumping fist punch. So I reverted Dan's kicking one back into a jumping fist attack, just like the other Shotos have. Let's get to his throws. So his standard throws, they're not actually typical Shoto throws. So his neutral and forward throw is Gato thrust, coming also from Street Fighter 4. He will lunge forward, pushing the opponent forward and knocking them to the ground. Does quite a bit more damage than a typical throw, but that's only because you don't get like a Pleadokian wake up. The opponent can actually, some opponents can wake up quicker than Dan can be done with the throw. But let me turn on hitboxes. Dan does get 3 frames of invulnerability after the end of it. 1, 2, 3, and it's over. So that means that Dan can't be put immediately into disadvantage for landing a throw, because that would be stupid. So that gives Dan the chance to still mix up his opponent and hold the advantage after landing his throw. Now his back throw, he struggles to throw you over his back, also like SF4, while other Shotos can just, you know, throw you over their shoulder at ease, but Dan will struggle to do it a little bit. Has a little more end lag, but you do get a full knockdown here, so it does about the same damage as other Shoto's typical throws there, as far as that goes. But I just want to mention Kara throwing real fast. Dan's best Kara move is his standing medium kick, so that's definitely, you can also use standing heavy punch, but because of its proximity with close medium punch, there's a very specific spacing you need to land it, as you can see right there. But his medium kick has no close version, so you can Kara throw with that a lot. If I can, there we go. So now I can get to his special moves, so let's start with the iconic 3 that Dan will always have. He always has it in every game, these 3. Of course, his Gadouken. It's his light, medium, and heavy versions, and the EX version is a red fireball from Street Fighter 5. It doesn't work exactly like it because, well, in the context of Street Fighter 3, he doesn't actually need this to be like stopping an infinite or anything. I mean, he doesn't have any infinites here. At least I sure hope he doesn't. It does do 2 hits. His Gadouken, notably, is a lot faster than other Shoto's Gadoukens. They usually can combo like that, but hold on. There you go. So yeah, Dan's Gadouken still combos at close range, just as other Shoto's fireballs can. But I believe, unlike other Shotos, oh never mind. Okay, they can just combo light to heavy, not light normal to the heavy fireball. Which Dan can do the same, of course. But his Gadouken actually comes out a little bit faster. I don't know the exact frame data, but it does. So his Gadouken's a really quick combo ender, and it's a deceivingly good juggling tool. I'll get to that a little bit later when I talk about a couple of his other moves that he'll have. So that's his Gadouken for now. So now let's get to Dankuukyaku. The Dan kicks, his fake Tatsumaki, some people call it. I don't know, man. I completely resprited this from the previous version. He does do a knee strike now. Here, I'll showcase the sprites a little better. The right time. Got to do this all with doing this weird thing with my hands to get this to work. So yeah, I made some cool custom sprites for it, and this, of course, is like the tornado kick from Sean. But I think the animation for it works well for Dankuukyaku. He can also do it in the air, just like the other Shotos can do their Tatsumaki. I figured Dan should have this because he can do it in like Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter Alpha. So I feel like for this version, it only makes sense. So yeah, it's a pretty good quick move. You can use it for pressure, you can use it for combos, you can do whatever with it. The light Dankuukyaku, it's very similar to SF4 actually. I made it so that it's 0 on block, and then it's -1 on block for the medium version, and -2 on block for heavy. And I think it's plus on block on the EX version. I can't remember exactly what I did. The EX version is really good though. I'll get to what the EX version does in a second. The air versions are pretty similar, of course, but you know, the block stuff will be different depending on when you're landing. And you can also create space with your light Dankuukyaku to get a plus on block and then keep up some pressure. Light Dankuukyaku also, oh, little spoiler there. But yeah, you can juggle light Dankuukyaku in the corner. I'm trying to do all of this with one hand right now, so I gotta like pause to do the input. I'm doing a really bad job at showcasing this. Okay, my input just got stuck. You can do stuff with this, I swear. Cut this part out, this a million times, and now this time I'm stuck with it. There we go. There we go. We'll probably just cut to that, or you know, maybe I'll leave the blooper in. We'll see. ZX Dankuukyaku is very notable for being able to see that Kuma went flying and spinning. That's because the move juggles, sort of like Street Fighter V, and this is a great point to get into with Dan's Koryuuken, his premier Dragon Punch. It's a lot more in line with other Shotos rather than Sean's, because in the games his frame data is like, his Koryuuken's actually pretty good, especially in SF4. I'm going pretty based on SF4 here. That being said, it does come out a frame slower than Ryu's does, than all of Ryu's. That's how I did the frame data. And Dan also has no actual invulnerability. His hitbox will shrink and give him like that upper body invincibility that you'll see most Dragon Punches have. But if you hit Dan low before this comes out with anything or grab him out of it, you can do that, unlike, say, Ryu or Ken's Shoryuken. But it's still a great move, I think. Oh, ooh, I spoiled something there. I might have to cut that. His EX Koryuuken by default has a Street Fighter 4 animation to it. I made a custom Street Fighter 4 animation. This is something in the options file that you're actually able to enable and disable, and you can also do that for the normal Koryuuken as well. There's an SF4 version. I might throw in footage of that. So yeah, that's his Koryuuken. 2 hits on the EX version. Oh, you can air taunt cancel these still. Forgot to mention that. I'll get more about his taunts later, but his other moves still have it. I'll get more into the properties later. We'll get to supers in a little bit, but first, there are also 3 more specials that I've given Dan from his Omega appearance in SF4, one of which carried over to SF5 actually. And I'll actually start with that one that carried over to SF5. Danretsuken. I forgot to turn off hitboxes. My bad. So Danretsuken. Oh man, look at that animation. I think this might be the best custom animation I've actually ever made for a Mugen character. I'm glad I made this. I made it the way that I did. Huge improvement over me making Danretsuken for Dan in like Shoto Showdown 1. If you followed my channel for a while and you've seen or played Shoto Showdown 1, you know. If you even knew he had Danretsuken. So this is an optional special move that's in the options file, so it can be disabled. If you're familiar with Danretsuken in SF4, you'll love it here in SF3 because it functions somewhat the same. So the way you combo Danretsuken is you have to combo either the Danretsuken strength has to be the same as the normal the strength of the normal you land, or it has to be less in order to do a combo. So for example, I can combo close medium punch to medium Danretsuken. I can combo close medium punch to light Danretsuken, but I cannot combo to heavy Danretsuken. As you can see that gap in Akuma's health there where he would have been able to act. But heavy punch will combo into Danretsuken. His EX Danretsuken has the speed of light Danretsuken, so you can combo that out of everything. And it launches a little bit far if you're not in the corner, so your follow-up options are limited. My recommendation, if you're not in the corner, just go meterless, is to just throw a heavy Gadouken after. The AI will do this as well. Which you might have seen, I can't remember if I had any AI's footage or not, but that's like the bread and butter follow-up you can go for when you're not in the corner. You definitely don't want this to get blocked. It's pretty negative on block. Your opponent will punish you. That goes for all versions, so definitely try and hit this thing. It is a difficult parry though, so that's nice. So yeah, it can string together after a while. Oh yeah, you can do EX Koryuuken as well if you want to spend the meter. But in the corner, this thing becomes a beast. Insane damage for Dan, I know. No wonder it's an optional special move. Oh, and it can juggle itself, although the scaling is pretty hard on the move. It stands second highest damage EX special move, but I want to demonstrate for you guys. There you go. And you'll only get a few hits of it. If you're not in the corner, this thing will not like fully connect. Unlike SF4, it'll just lose all of its hits if you don't connect it in the corner in the air. So that's Danretsuken. Next, I'll show Funjinken. So Funjinken is Dan's parody of Kazuya's Electric Wind God Fist. I don't know if you know about this, but you know, if you know Omega Street Fighter 4, then you know about this move. You know about the Funjinken. The input for it is it's like a Koryuuken, or you know, a typical Shoryuken, but you need to press the punch button. Well, normally it's the same frame that you press down forward, so you'll press down forward and punch at the same time instead of delaying it a little bit like for a Koryuuken. So you'll do like that. But I made the leniency window a little bit longer. You have 2 to 3 frames, I believe. I think it's 3 frames that I give you to press the punch button. So I was a little bit generous. So Funjinken is kind of an insane move because of its juggling capabilities. It doesn't do quite the damage of a Koryuuken, but you can super cancel it and everything. It'll set up for some stuff, man. It's good. In terms of its invulnerability, I'm not going to be able to get this off where I pause it while doing the Funjinken, I think, but I'll just do it in fast speed with the hitboxes turned on. So let me do the medium and heavy versions. The medium and heavy versions are alright, but they don't have the juggle potential that the light ones do, and don't lead into the same stuff. So unless you're going to go for like one Funjinken and cancel to a super, you should definitely use the light one. The AI uses the light one all the time. So the properties of it, you can see Dan's hitbox begin to... I really want to get this on this thing. Hold on. I'm doing the input with like one hand and with my other hand on the pause button on my keyboard, so that's why I'm like pausing, trying to get this. I'll cut to when I actually get it, I think. Alright, well, I paused kind of late into it, but you can see the hitboxes for it now. And you can see it has the same type of thing as Koryuuken, where his lower body is his hurt box, so he kind of gains a little bit of upper invincibility, just like Omega Street Fighter 4. At the start of the move, on all versions, Dan gets 2 frames of complete invincibility, so it'll go through anything, and then you saw that his hitbox was kind of like glowing light blue there during the end of it. That's because up until then he only has grab immunity. So the first 2 frames are full invincibility, and then frame 3 up to the attack coming out are just grab invulnerability. ability. So it will beat wake up grabs, it'll beat out grapplers' moves. And yeah, it's combo. I'll show a little bit more in tandem with supers later. You probably already saw some with the AI. There's no EX version of Funjinken either. So yeah, just like Omega Street Fighter 4. It would be kind of insane if you had an EX Funjinken. His damage is already good enough with the move. It's kind of insane. So in terms of, I was just speaking about grappling a second ago. If you really know Omega Street Fighter 4, you're gonna know what I'm about to showcase. Let me turn on. This is Saikyo Tenjinsai. Now you may not quite recognize it as the move that you've seen in Omega Street Fighter 4, and that's because I took some creative liberties. Alright, this is Street Fighter 3. So I'll go a little bit frame by frame here, but this is now a parody of Kazuya's Gates of Hell move from Tekken as well, so it's another parody. So Dan will kind of do a knee strike and then kick you in the back, and you'll go flying back. And you'll take alright damage. It's kind of like SF4. Saikyo Tenjinsai does reasonable damage, but not as much as like a real grappler's grappling throw would do. You can see the input for it on the screen. It should be, it's kind of like a 270 input where you go from forward to up and do the move. The heavier versions, the only difference is that the whiff animation takes longer, so if you miss it, you can get punished easier, but it just simply does a bit more damage when you increase the strength. So that's the heavy version, and the EX version follows suit, but the EX version is has a fast whiff animation, but also does by far the most damage. It kind of takes an EX Tenjinsai to do the damage of like a normal grappler's, 360 like Hugo or Alex or whatever, along the lines of that. Some tips are that you can buffer this out of other stuff that you're doing, like dashing forward like that. A little bit difficult for me right now because I'm just kind of doing all this whole showcase in like one take. You can also buffer it out of like certain normals if you want to, but you have to be a little bit lenient with your timing so that you can actually connect the grab. It reaches a little bit further than a standard grab that Dan has, so like his normal grab. So that's Saikyo Tenjinsai. That's all of the special moves that I've showcased. So now I'll get to his super moves, which I already have the first one selected. Super Art 1 is Shinkuu Gadouken.
Shinkuu Gadouken!
You can see I made a brand new animation for it. You can see I lined up the hand effects this time and everything. You can see it's a little messed up on the old version of my Dan, but now, really nice animation. Kind of resembles Ryu Shinkuu Gadouken. Does about the damage of Sean's Hado Burst, but a tiny bit more just because the move has pretty much no range with Shinkuu Gadouken, so you can do some super cancel stuff with this. Hit something like that, just like you would with other Shotos. You can actually super cancel Gadouken into stuff now. It doesn't have to be on hit. That's just how fireballs are in Street Fighter 3, so I made it that way. You can cancel a red fireball into it as well. Does a lot more damage. You can just spit out a wave of damage with that move. With Dan, if you just manage to connect that. You can also combo it off of certain stuff, like juggling moves. Shinkuu Gadouken is one of those moves that's fast enough. You kind of get like Shinkuu Gadoukens or Koryuukens for a lot of his juggle stuff, but yeah, you cannot get Funjinkens for that stuff. Funjinken is too slow, and it would be insane if you could do that anyway, so no. So that's Shinkuu Gadouken. It does 5 hits, but I think it's only like 2 parries because it dissipates really quickly. It's Dan. He's fine.
Let's go.
I'll get to some combos later. Now let's look at a little bit of spoilers. Super Art 2, very similar to Sean's Shoryuken naturally, because Dan's is just, well, his Koryuu Rekka. In the games he does actually have this in, it's 2 leaping dragon punches, and well, in SF3 suit I decided to keep it sort of like Sean's Shoryuken, where you can see if I don't press anything after doing the move, I only get 5 hits and the damage is pretty mediocre, but if you just piano your buttons, you get a bunch of hits out. You can squeeze out 15, I think, if you're insane, or if you're the AI, either one. You can also now do this with the kick button as well. I made it so you can do it with the kick button, and that's for a reason that I'll talk about later with this all supers mode. This is an amazing juggling super, so I highly recommend using this in the corner for setups for getting some insane damage out with it. something like that. I know it looks like it's doing a like insane amount of damage, but it's because I'm fighting Akuma. You know, Akuma has really low health, so he's gonna take all that kind of damage. You can also cancel Danretsuken into this, the EX version. Do something like that. You can go to another Koryuuken. I don't think you have time to hit a Funjinken after Koryuu Rekka. You probably wouldn't want to though. They'd be too low to get a second or third one, so you'd rather just do a Koryuuken anyways. You can do the usual juggle stuff. If I can, there we go. Are my inputs delayed? Maybe I'm just bad. I don't know. So yeah, that's Koryuu Rekka. Also works well as a reversal. Well, all of his supers work well as a reversal.
Let's go.
Super Art 3. Oh, I haven't even mentioned the stock amounts. I'm so sorry. Shinkuu Gadouken has 3 stocks. It's kind of like Hado burst, and, you know. It's like sure you can, and you get 2 stocks with his second super art, and super art
Let's go.
is Shisso Buraiken. You get 1 stock. The ones that have less stocks, you have less EX to play with. The bar is not decreasing because I'm in training mode, but yeah, if you know SF3, you know SF3. So Shisso Buraiken is kind of like Dan's nuclear super, or should I say just like his one-off super, because he has an actual nuclear super. That'll be the next one. We'll get to that. If you know, you know. Those who know. Anyway, so Shisso Buraiken, I'll just do it first, is a fast 9-hit sequence of attacks. It's a parody of one of Ryo's moves. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Does really good damage up close. Does about half the health bar, a little less than half the health bar of a normal character, but you know, Akuma, so he's just taking more damage. If you're in the corner with this, it's a little bit strict, but you can get a juggle off of it in the corner if your opponent was already on the ground when you do the move. If they're not on the ground, if you catch them in the air with Shisso Buraiken, you'll definitely not get all the hits, unless it's a huge character. You might get all of the hits off with like Hugo or something, I don't know. You can get pretty much all the hits if they're in the air. In the corner though, but your opponent will hit the ground before you get a chance for any sort of juggle follow-up. So there's that. So if you want to do an air confirm, like if you want to Koryuuken into Shisso Buraiken in the corner, you can, but you probably, because of scaling, you'd probably want to do the Shisso Buraiken first, and then do the Koryuuken after the Shisso Buraiken, if possible. So yeah, that's that move. And you can connect it at sort of close range. You might miss on like 1 or 2 hits though if you try and like do a bar confirm into it and you're not in the corner. So there's that. That's Shisso Buraiken. Those are his 3 standard super arts. But you know, I'm the world's biggest Dan fan, so. There's very much a lot of because I said so, which is why he has a super art 4. This is optional. Let me clarify that in the options file, this and his next one, they can be disabled. You do not have to use these if you want an authentic SF3 experience, but I added them for fun because I love Dan, and if you enjoy these supers, then you may as well leave them on. I just made it optional for the people that would rather have the more authentic SF3 Dan. So Super Art 4, if you're familiar with my Dan previously, you would press start on Super Art 3 and you would get Super Art 4 as the match started. It was a bit buggy though, and also for some reason it reverted back to Super Art 1 when another round began. So Super Art 4 is Otoko Michi, which is like his Marvel vs. Capcom 2, like his reverse Raging Demon. You know, you got Akuma's Raging Demon. And then if you do the input in reverse with Dan with Super Art 4, updated the graphics a lot with this one, so the Dan and his opponent actually burn when he explodes. You can see I actually put fire effects and palette effects, and the explosion effect is of course the same as Q's explosion on his Super Art 3, but it's a bit bigger. And the sprites are properly aligned this time. I felt, you know, of course, just like Q's explosion, it would make sense that Dan Otoko Michi would cause the same sort of explosion. So that's what I went with for that. So this is quite literally his nuclear super option. You know, it's an all or nothing thing. You can confirm into this though, and you can do some far confirmed stuff with it. Because of the input, though, you might struggle a little bit with some more executionally demanding stuff. Just because you have to hit a whole reverse Raging Demon input. This does a lot of damage. This is Dan's highest damage individual attack by far. This is Otoko Michi. I'll turn on the showcase for damage. You can see Akuma actually only has like 826 health. So yeah, he takes a lot of damage, man. But this move does somewhere, but it's 497 here, but it typically goes to like 502 on some characters that have standard defense. And Dan's health gets set to 1, so that's the all or nothing part of this, is that if you don't kill with it, it's very likely that you will just die, unless your opponent is also low enough health for you to finish them off, and it's like sudden death at that point. If you whiff the move, unlike the last version, let me show tripping first. So if the move just goes far enough it doesn't connect, Dan will just like trip and fall over. You can see that animation that he has. But if you crash into a wall, this happens. Dan will hit the wall and collapse over, and he's punishable during this. Not only that, but he counts as crouching, so he will take additional damage. So yeah, you definitely don't want to miss this move, else risk being decimated. So you do want to hit Otoko Michi and kill with it. So I think that's about all I have to say about Otoko Michi. So let's move to his 5th super move. Yes, he has a 5th super art now. I know, it's insane. This one has 2 stocks like his Koryuu Rekka. I'd say there's quite a bit to go over with this one. You're probably wondering, what is this super move? Well, it's Ichigeki Hissatsu from SVC Chaos. Why does he have this super move? So yeah. So this is a chargeable super move. So as you just saw, so I'll do the move and you can release this at any time. There are 3 levels of punch for the Ichigeki Hissatsu. You charge it similar to, you can compare it to Ryu's Denjin Hadouken a little bit, but the charge time is fixed. You can't like spin the stick around or press more buttons to make it charge faster. It's a fixed 2.5 second charge time. So you'll notice when you start charging that nothing will happen at first, and if you let go, you get this animation. And if you hit someone with it does pretty lame damage. Not so great if you just let the thing rip. If you hold it down, so you can see Dan started flashing purple, and he goes sha. When he does that, and the little EX effect appears, that means it's reached level 2. And if you let it go now, the punch animation changes and you get a bit more damage out of it. And there's actually a combo you can do into this that I'll show here in a second that's actually pretty reasonable damage. And of course, if you charge it all the way to level 3, all 2.5 seconds, you get that. You get its full damage, does really good damage. I think it's like 300, the high 300s, low 400s damage. And it causes wall bounce. Dan can't combo off of this unless he trades, but you know, I just thought that the wall bounce makes sense for how powerful that punch comes off as. Additionally though, this is also a counter super. Now I know what you're thinking if you know Street Fighter 3, oh, but this is just Remy's Blue Nocturne, and Blue Nocturne is like really bad. Well, Dan's counter doesn't activate completely instantly, because he has like a couple of frames before the super pause starts, so that's time for your opponent to press a button. But also, it's not just a counter, because Dan can just let it rip if he doesn't want to get hit. So I don't think it shows the hit def attributes for it. Basically, any attack that's not a crouching attack, projectile attack, or throw will trigger the counter, and here's what it looks like. So Dan will just parry, and then he'll go straight to the level 3 version, no matter how much charge he had, even if he just started. He'll go straight to the level 3 version on parry. And here's low attacks beating it. You can see low attacks will just, you know, stop the move entirely, as with grabs and projectiles. So Dan cannot counter those whatsoever, but he just can counter any mid or high attacking normal or special or anything like that. But what you can do is, unlike the counter, say I'm charging it, or say I'm charging it and I start the charge after. Hold on, I'm gonna do something here. Let's say that crouch button jams. Alright, let's say Akuma just keeps on sweeping. If I anticipate that, well, there's a couple of frames you can't. This is a really bad example, guys. If you see a crouching attack coming, basically, you can just let the move rip, and if their hitbox isn't like already on you, then they won't like. If the opponent's if the hitbox isn't like already on you, then the move will go through basically. So that's Ichigeki Hissatsu. Oh yeah, the combo. I was gonna show a combo with it. If you're in the corner and you land, well, you can do either like a Funjinken, or if you land an EX Danretsuken. Red Fireball has great juggle potential, and it lets you do something like this. Oh, I missed it. That's so bad. Alright, so yeah, there you go. So that's a pretty high damage combo Dan can do with the level 2 version. If you use a Red Fireball, your opponent will be in the air for enough time to charge it to level 2 and then land the attack, so that does pretty good damage. It is super cancelable, of course, so you can like... But you're just gonna have to let the level 1 version rip, because obviously, unless you're like getting a cool juggle in the corner, like I was, you're not gonna be able to get... you're just not gonna be able to get like a cool combo into a level 2 version. You should be able to do the normal juggle stuff. I actually haven't tested this specific combo, but it should be possible. Oh, come on. Oh, maybe it's not. And maybe that's also for the best. So yeah, that's Ichigeki Hissatsu. Now for its final thing that is also an option, just like Ichigeki Hissatsu. You can see I just selected Super Art. You can see Akuma, like how he has no number icon on his Super Beater, neither does Dan. Dan has a 3-stocked all supers mode now. This is actually a request I saw someone give on a previous version, I think on the release of Dan, and I wanted to see that as well. So here's his all supers mode. So how it works is he has 3 stocks just like he has for Shinkuu Gadouken, so he has more room to be throwing around EX. And he has access to all of his supers at reduced damage. His supers will deal 25% less damage using this mode, but he has access to all of them. So Shinkuu Gadouken's input will be the same as usual, 2 quarter circles forward. But his other super moves will change. Koryuu Rekka will be 2 quarter circles forward and kick instead, and this is going back to why I made kick, so you can mash the kick button as well, do Koryuu Rekka, is because since on all supers mode you do it with a kick, I just want you to be able to start mashing the button that you did the super move with. There's no harm in it really at all. And then his to do Shisso Buraiken, double quarter circle back kick now. Kind of like how the input changed for his Shisso Buraiken on Omega Mode Street Fighter 4, where it was 2 quarter circles back and all 3 punches instead of 2 quarter circles forward. It does make doing confirms harder. Well, you know, if that was an actual confirm, but you get the idea. Yeah, it can make doing confirms harder executionally, just because you have to do quarter circles back. You can't just buffer like a Gadouken into the thing because it's quarter circles back now. It makes it easier than Danretsuken, actually, probably. Anyway, to do Ichigeki Hissatsu, it's 2 quarter circles back punch. I made this one the punch one instead of Shisso Buraiken, because you have to hold punch on Ichigeki Hissatsu to charge it. So 2 quarter circles back punch, continue holding punch. Everything else about the supers is entirely the same, aside from 25% reduced damage. And of course, Otoko Michi is still the same input. Now, how this works with the 3 stocks is that the moves will require certain amounts of stocks. Like Shinkuu Gadouken will still require 1 stock, but Koryuu Rekka and Ichigeki Hissatsu will require 1.5 stocks of the super. And to do Shisso Buraiken or Otoko Michi, the level 3, or the ones that have 1 stock before, you need all 3 stocks of your super bar to do them now. There's actually 1 more super Dan has, of course. It is a classic Dan.
Let's go.
Present in the previous version, but a whole new coat of paint now, and this is where I'll segue into his taunts after this, but this is the legendary taunt. And now with actual After Effects this time, because for some reason they were broken on the first version. Stupid IAteMySink. Anyway, so the input for this, no matter what super art you're using, you can use this with any super art selected. All it requires is that you have completely full meters, so you need all stocks of the super art just completely filled up to do Legendary Taunt. The input for it will be 2 quarter circles forward and your taunt, which will either be start. Whenever I refer to pressing taunt, I'm either referring to pressing start or pressing heavy kick and heavy punch at the same time. Either will work. So that's how you can do Legendary Taunt, 2 quarter circles forward, and your taunt button. So yeah, if you want to absolutely disrespect on your opponent, that's the taunt for you. Now I'll talk about his actual taunts. So Dan has 7 taunts, I believe, 7 different taunts. So his neutral taunt, which I just showed a second ago, he'll go yo-use, and he'll stick out his thumb. Just a pretty simple taunt. Forward taunt will get you the Ratchu taunt, and he'll stick his arm out forward. Oh man, I can't wait to show you the back one. I'll do the crouching one first though, with all new sprites this time that look much better than they did before. Crouching taunt is his fastest taunt. I'll get into why that's important in a second. And if you remember his butt slapping taunt, that's been completely replaced with something new. Dan will twerk on you, and it has a hitbox. It is not a combo though. It can be parried out of and interrupted unless the opponent is crouching. If they are crouching and you hit them with this, it will combo. How wonderful. And the AI makes good use of these taunts. Dan will be so disrespectful to you if he's beating you, and if he has a lot more health than you. He will absolutely use his taunts, and if he stuns you and he has that much more health than you, like 550 more health than you, he will just run up to you and shake his butt on you. You may not see it all the time because, some characters just don't get stunned by anything. They don't have a stun system, Dan himself included actually, but he will do that on stunned opponents, so that's something, alright. And of course there's his air taunt. And he can jump around and do it like SF4, he can just fly all over the screen with his air taunt. Pretty cool. It does have a hitbox. It does barely any damage, but it has the still has the canceling stuff, so you can cancel it out of his Dankuukyaku still. Although it must be before the final kick now, with the exception of light Dankuukyaku, where you can just do it after contact whenever. But after that second kick on medium or the third kick on heavy Dankuukyaku, you just cannot do the air taunt. You can of course do it in the air as well if you land the air version. Okay, I'm gonna need you to jump Akuma a little sooner. And then I didn't press the taunt button in time. Once again, doing all this one hand. There you go. So yeah, that's his air taunt. You can cancel Koryuuken with it still, of course. All versions. Just a little extra thing for fun. Oh, and of course his rolling taunt. His rolling taunts have been updated as well. Now it's worth noting, Dan gains complete invulnerability on the rolls. That includes for his legendary taunt. So Dan is only vulnerable during the taunting portion, which means he can actually roll past your attacks, even crouching ones. Like Dan can just roll past stuff. It's pretty funny here. Let me button jam Akuma. So you can actually roll past some stuff, like Akuma's doing light punches. You can almost roll past that. So yeah, you can kind of roll past some stuff sometimes, which is pretty funny. With that, I believe that's all his taunts, but I will get into his taunt ability. Every SF3 character gains some sort of ability with their taunt, and Dan's is getting a 25% defense buff for the next combo that he's hit with. This didn't actually work properly in the previous version of the character, but it works flawlessly now. So I'm actually going to turn on debug mode again, so you can see something about it. I have the position on instead of the taunt buff. That's okay. So you have to finish the taunting animation to get his taunt buff. So you'll press, you can do any of his standing taunts to do this. So all of these will work, even his ass shaking taunt, even if you land it, even his rolling taunt. If you finish the whole thing, you'll get the buff. The only one you won't get it with is air taunt and, well, legendary taunt, of course. But all of his other taunts, if you finish the animation, you get the buff. And so you can see here, if Akuma throws Dan, he took 96 damage. Now Dan taunts, Akuma throws Dan, 72 damage. So yeah, you get a 25% resistance that goes for the whole next combo you take, and it does not include blocking. So if you block attacks and take chip damage, the ability will not be removed. So it can be really helpful in surviving something deadly. Like Dan took a lot less damage from that Raging Demons, and, because he had the taunt buff on. So that's his taunting ability. I think I've covered pretty much everything there is to cover about Dan. In terms of his moveset that's relevant. So